In the quiet streets of Rochdale, a working-class town nestled in Greater Manchester, October 17th, 2017 began like any other day. The autumn air hung cold and still. Leaves littered the pavement, and a crew of tree surgeons set out for another routine job. What none of them knew was that a single moment of road rage was about to ignite a chain of violence so savage, so calculated, it would leave a young man fighting for his life and a town haunted by the echoes of gang vengeance. This is the story of an 18-year-old caught in the crosshairs of street justice, where loyalty meant everything and mercy meant nothing. This is the Rochdale Axe Attack, a brutal act of retribution. A mob driven by loyalty and rage, and a community left to question how far is too far when the rules of the street replaced the rule of law. Stay with us as we unravel the events of that terrifying afternoon and explore the blurred lines between justice, vengeance, and survival. If this is the kind of story that grips you, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. It's just after 4 p.m. on Church Road in Newbold, Rochdale. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows across the quiet street, the kind of late afternoon where everything feels still, until it isn't. 4 tree surgeons, dressed in high-vis jackets, are hard at work. Chainsaws buzz, branches fall. Among them is the youngest, just 18. Calloused hands, quiet determination, and the kind of grit that only comes from real labor. He's carving out a future, one day at a time. But before this shift ends, one of those hands will lie nearly severed, hanging on by a thread of flesh and tendon. The trouble starts with something small, something ordinary. A car, an argument, a spark. Habibur Rahman, 27 years old, manager of his family's restaurant, the Bay Tree in Blackley, is behind the wheel, passing through Newbold. He takes issue with the driving of an elderly woman in front of him. Words are exchanged, sharp, heated, ugly. Rahman's voice tears through the still air. The woman, visibly shaken, drives on, but the scene hasn't gone unnoticed. Just a few feet away, the tree surgeons glance up. They've seen enough to speak up. 2 of them approach, trying to de-escalate, calm things down, but Rahman doesn't calm down. A scuffle breaks out, shouts become fists. For Rahman, this isn't just a roadside spat, it's a public challenge. And in his mind, a deeply personal insult. Newbold, as far as he's concerned, is his ground. And these men, these white bakis, as he would later call them, have disrespected him, embarrassed him. And that requires consequences. Rahman doesn't wait. He pulls out his phone, dials once, then again. Word spreads fast. A retaliation is coming, and it won't be a one-man fight. Within minutes, a plan is in motion. A mob, up to 20 men, is being summoned, armed, angry, and ready to make a statement. This isn't random, it isn't impulsive, it's organized, targeted, and terrifyingly efficient. The tree surgeons, unaware that violence is already in motion, continue packing up for the day. Tools clink, ladders collapse. They're moments from clocking out, steps away from safety. But Habibur Rahman isn't done. He finds them, tracks them to a nearby property, and his Vauxhall Zafira screeches to a halt across the entrance, cutting off their exit. The crew is boxed in, trapped, hunted. From behind the wheel, Rahman makes his intentions chillingly clear. I'm not going to let them leave. They're going to get what they deserve. They're going to get stabbed. The threat isn't vague. It's a promise, delivered with purpose. The workmen freeze, sensing the gravity of the moment. They try to reason with him. Words meant to de-escalate. But Rahman is past the point of no return. This isn't about pride anymore. It's about punishment. And the punishment is arriving. One by one, his reinforcements flood in. A wave of armed men, summoned like soldiers to a cause. Machetes, knives, a claw hammer, a knuckle duster, and among them, Mohammed Awais Sajid, known on the streets as Skinny. He carries something different, something symbolic, an axe, tucked into his waistband, waiting. The street, once quiet, now pulses with threat. Nearly 20 men fan out, forming a circle of menace. No words, no warnings, just purpose. Rahman makes the first move. He steps forward, the metal of a knuckle duster flashing in the twilight, and drives a brutal punch into one of the tree surgeon's faces. The crack of bone is instant. a nose shattered. Blood sprays across the pavement. Panic detonates, but the worst is still to come. Sajid moves like a man on a mission, straight toward the youngest of the crew, the 18-year-old, the one who had tried to calm things down, the peacemaker. There's no hesitation, no mercy. He draws the axe and swings. The blade tears into the young man's chest, a thunderous blow that breaks ribs and punctures a lung. The teenager crumples, gasping, blood blooming through his high-vis jacket. But Sajid doesn't stop. With horrifying precision, he spins, a full 360-degree arc, and raises the axe high. This isn't a warning, it's an execution. The axe comes down fast, aimed for the head, but the young man, on instinct alone, raises his arm to shield himself. The blade slams into his wrist, nearly severing his hand in one sickening strike. Tendons snap. Blood pours. His body convulses in shock. He stumbles backward, vision narrowing, the world tilting around him. His mind is screaming, his body breaking. Behind him, the street descends into full-blown chaos, but all he can focus on now is staying alive. The attack is relentless, but in the chaos, one man refuses to surrender. One of the tree surgeons, bloodied, terrified, desperate, grabs a chainsaw from the back of the truck. With a yank of the cord, the engine roars to life, slicing through the mob's shouts like a war cry. It's a bold move, a last stand. For a split second, the sound holds the street in suspense. Then, the attackers falter. Fear flashes in their eyes. They scatter. At the same time, another worker bolts toward a nearby care home, hammering on the doors, begging for help. Someone listens. Emergency services are called. Sirens begin to wail in the distance, growing louder, closer. The cavalry is coming. But for one young man, it might already be too late. The 18-year-old victim collapses near the scene, cradling what's left of his arm. His co-workers, faces smeared with blood, scramble to stem the bleeding. The wound is catastrophic. Skin, muscle, bone, torn apart. Above, a police helicopter circles. An air ambulance is dispatched. The clock is ticking. Paramedics stabilize him just enough to fly. He's airlifted to hospital in critical condition, fading in and out of consciousness. Surgeons waste no time, rushing him into a grueling emergency operation to reattach his nearly severed hand. They succeed, but just barely. It's only the beginning. Over the next 2 years, the young man will undergo 5 more operations, each one a painful, invasive reminder of the afternoon that stole so much. Doctors tell him the hard truth. He'll regain, at most, 60% use of his arm. The physical scars run deep, but it's the invisible ones, the trauma, the nightmares, the rage, that linger longest. Back in Rochdale, the hunt begins. Police launch a major investigation, Operation Beehive, pulling together every available resource. The mob may have vanished, but they left behind a trail of violence. Blood on the streets, discarded weapons in alleyways, CCTV footage, terrified witnesses. Detectives know this wasn't spontaneous. It was planned, coordinated, a message from the underworld, delivered in blood. January 2018. In the cold pre-dawn light, police execute a series of coordinated raids across Rochdale. Front doors are battered down. Streets fill with flashing lights. 12 men are arrested. Among them, Habibur Rahman and Mohammed Awais Sajid, known on the street as Skinny. The operation is precise, deliberate, and for many in the community, long overdue. 9 of those arrested are later released without charge, but the key conspirators, they're going to face justice. At Minchell Street Crown Court, the trial begins, and the atmosphere is electric, tense, volatile. The courtroom becomes a pressure cooker of emotion. As verdicts are read, outbursts erupt from the public gallery, effing injustice. Police set up, cries echo off the walls, desperate, angry, defiant. The jury reaches its decisions. Mohammed Awais Sajid, Skinny, the man with the axe, is found guilty of Section 18, wounding with intent. He's sentenced to 18 years in prison. But the attempted murder charge? Dropped in an earlier trial. The acquittal sparks outrage among those who believe the sentence doesn't go far enough. Habibur Rahman, the ringleader, is convicted of assault for his brutal knuckle-duster attack. He's jailed for 4.5 years. His brother, Zillur Rahman, receives 3 years for conspiracy to commit violent disorder. And Arsan Ali, another key player, is sentenced to 4 years behind bars. Then comes the judge's reckoning. Judge John Potter pulls no punches. From the bench, he delivers a blistering assessment, a savage and brutal act. He calls it what it was, a coordinated assault carried out by a gang bent on asserting dominance over a community. He tears apart Habibur Rahman's claim that the attack was provoked by racist abuse, calling it a pack of lies. The defendants, he notes, show no remorse, no testimony, no apology, just silence. For the victims, the verdicts bring some measure of justice, but closure, that's harder to find. The 4 tree surgeons are forever changed. The 18-year-old, once driven and full of ambition, now faces a future defined by pain, surgeries, and limitations. He'll never regain full use of his arm. Every scar is a reminder of what was taken. His co-workers live with the echoes, the roar of the chainsaw, the screams in the street, the sight of an axe splitting flesh. Each one knows it could have been them. And for the town of Rochdale, the memory of that day remains etched in pavement and trauma. A brutal reminder of how fast ordinary can turn into nightmare. Rochdale is a town built on grit, on hard work, on resilience. But the events of October 17th, 2017 left more than blood on the streets. They left a scar. The attack didn't just wound bodies, it tore open deeper questions about territory, about identity, about how quickly violence can erupt and how slowly a community heals. It forced a reckoning. What does justice look like when the damage is irreversible? What does it mean to move on when the past still bleeds into the present? We want to hear from you. What do you think about this case? About justice? About the forces, seen and unseen, that drive people to such brutality? Your voice matters. Your perspective is part of this story. So drop a comment below. Join the conversation. Be part of something bigger than just one headline. As for the young tree surgeon, now in his 20s, his journey of recovery continues. His hand will never fully heal. The damage is permanent. But his spirit, unbroken. In the face of unthinkable violence, he chose not to give up. He chose to fight, to live, to rebuild. His story is a testament to the strength of the human will and a reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope can still rise. Thank you for joining us for the Rochdale Axe attack. If this story moved you, if you're drawn to real stories, raw truths, and the pursuit of justice, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got more stories to tell, and we want you there with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep seeking the truth.